Assalamualaikum and hi class. Very good evening. Welcome to Healthcare Information System subject. So today we will discuss about the chapter 6 regarding on Healthcare Information System standard. So Healthcare Information System standard objective of the learning is to enable you to identify the major type of healthcare information standard, including the term, code, and classification. We also discuss regarding on electronic data interchange standard, and this chapter to enable you to discuss the relationship among healthcare informatic exchange. Yep. Uh, Regional health information network and also the nationwide health information network. Okay. Why the healthcare information systems require standard? So because when we look at the background, both conceptually and practically, the study of medical language is inescapably central to informatics. Yeah. So when you talk about the medical communication and then language use across the healthcare services is they relate to the information and information when they use technology, so it become uh, informatic kind of technology where the healthcare and the technology is married, and the goal is to get the best uh, services as a tool to provide a good services to the healthcare treatment to the patient. So theoretically, medical language are the building block which we construct and apply our models of health and disease. Yeah? And such they exert influence at the very foundation of medical thinking. So when you study on the healthcare information process, yeah, in the healthcare organization, so they have a language to be used. Same like we communicate with our friends, so we create a common language to be used so that you and your friend understand what you are talking about. Yeah, you and your friend discuss the things, then you can get the same common goal and objective during the discussion. So same in the healthcare processes. Yeah. So the communication between doctor and nurses and other services such as radiologists, pathologists, they use the same language to communicate so that they can get the same goal and objective. So in practice, administrative bodies increasingly require healthcare workers to codify their record using specialized word to permit auditing of their practices. Uh, that means without the system, coding system or standard, term, coding or classification standard, which is predefined in the computer system. So the health worker, especially in the record department, whatever information written by the healthcare professional, they will code it. Yeah, they call codify. they codify the record or data written by the healthcare professional into a structured coding system. So let's say fever, they have their code 0010, flu 0011, for example. So every single of the diseases, for example, at the end of the month, so the clinical record personnel will do the conversion from the handwritten of the doctor to the coding system. Yeah. It all of this is done manually. Yeah. They have a books, and then they look at the handwritten by the doctor and then convert and get the code. Okay, this is a tedious work. Yeah. And national and international bodies seem to be constantly creating longer lists of words. So this is tedious work. Let's say a doctor written a very long report. So the codification of the word to the structured code is very difficult. Often in open competition with one another. So the support given to individual collection of words sometimes reach near religious level. Okay, so sometimes different doctor, they have their own style of writing the words, right? So this become difficult for the uh, record department personnel to convert the handwritten of the health workers, professional, to the coding system. So this is a very tedious work. So the language of medical and healthcare attract great attention within informatics, and their development consume much resource. Thus, a standard language is vital to be established. So we cannot rely on the manual conversion from the handwritten to the coding system, coding systematic code done manually. So that's why the term code and classification need to be developed, need to be used uh, when we want to develop the healthcare information system. When we want to computerize the system, so we need to use a standard term and code or classification uh, to store the information with a standard code and terms. Okay, why language establish a common ground? Yeah. So when you look at the human being design is to detect different in the world. Yeah? So when we look at the human, so you and me, for example, we are different character. We have a different objects. So we distinguish different object, and then we name them, and then categorize them. Okay, so we categorize. Let's say in our class, we categorize two type of student: foreign student and local student. From the local student, we can categorize uh, them uh, based on their religious or based on their race: Malay, Chinese, and India. So this is a process of discovering the difference between uh, two or three things, and then giving them both name, Melayu, China, and India. So this is a basis to the way in which we learn about the world, develop the language, and proceed to the interaction with the world. So we are, let's say a local student is a Malaysian, is a Malaysia. So the language that we use is a bahasa Melayu, okay, or English. So this is important that a language, a common language among Malaysian to be used. Yeah. Let's say when I talk with Achong, Achong cannot use Mandarin and I use bahasa Melayu. So we need to talk with a common language, which is both of us understand what we talking about. So language evolve, not revolve as we interact with the world. Okay. So when we born, so we start using a special language. Yeah? Let's say if we hungry, we always say to our mom, said we want to mamam, for example. Yeah? We create the language, or your mom or your dad will create a language that easy for you to pronounce. Okay, mamam, uh, what else? Uh, Nene, and so on. Okay, this is an example. So, so when members of different cultures wish to meet, they need to establish a linguistic common ground. To do this, there must be some shared language and agreement on the meaning of that shared language. So there is a little value in each of us developing a complicated set of words if no one else understands what they are intended to represent. So thus the natural drive to create new word is tempered by the need to communicate. So this story, this previous story that I told you, uh, in healthcare is similar. So with a long history of discovery and the creation of new ideas, word and language. As a consequence, the word used change both their meaning and their form over time. So a clinician today has a very different understanding of the meaning of the word. For example, asthma or diabetic. So when you talk about when doctors say diabetic, maybe the, there are two type of diabetic, diabetic type 1 and type 2. So when you use a term asthma, for example, so it meaning is different. Okay, so that's why the term codes and classification is important uh, to be established, to be established when we want to develop the healthcare information system. Okay, so in general, language is very important to establish, uh, especially in the healthcare discipline. Yeah. Uh, so when we want to develop the healthcare information system, which is computer, yeah, we use computer. We want to store the information. So computer doesn't understand what you said, yeah, or what you written in free text. So they understand the code so that the data you entered can be structured accordingly, can be mining accordingly. And then you can do the analytic and also the statistic. So without the coding, yeah, standard term and classification, so the data that you input into this computer cannot be structured, cannot be produced very informative statistic or analytic. So common terms are needed to permit assessment of clinical activities. Thus, common terms are needed to permit assessment of clinical activities. So, common language was solely to permit discussion among different groups. And common term is to make all such assessment necessary to make measurement by pooling patient data. Okay. So, when you want to pool the data or you want to share the data of patients, so uh, it is very difficult if every one of the doctor use their terms and code. Yeah, they use their own term. I always give an example. For example, when you go to uh, Negeri Sembilan, so they use their dialect. They say, for example, they pronounce fever as domam. When you go to Kelantan, they call it demam. Yeah? And you go to Johor, they pronounce is demam. So we have three type of term, but the meaning is same. Is fever, demam. Okay. So common term is very important because in healthcare, language itself is often the basis of measurement. When you talk about, let's say I give you an example, diabetic mellitus 2, diabetic mellitus 1. So it's different. Diabetic mellitus 2 is non-insulin. Diabetic mellitus 1, uh, the patient who need insulin. So the term is different. Okay, so common term are needed to permit assessment of clinical activities. So that's why we discuss on this chapter about the healthcare information system standard. So when you want to develop the healthcare information system, so you have to establish a standard, especially the terms. Term term means word, word in clinical. It is normal that when you meet your doctor, the doctor will ask you what is your problem, and then you will say that you got vomiting in the beginning of the day, in the morning. Okay, they will cache or capture your word vomiting. Yeah, vomiting is a term, and when the doctors, for example, type vomiting, then the computer will capture the vomiting and attach to the special code. For example, VOM001 and store into your medical record, electronic medical record. And then at the end, the statistic can be produced. Yeah, uh, we can calculate patient can how many patients suffer with flu, for example, with diabetic, with hypertension. So we can produce the report easily. Okay, so the question is, what is a term? So term is a medical terminologies. Like all language start with a basic set of words or term. Like I said just now, it's a word, vomiting, dizziness, fever, diabetes. Okay, a short of breath. Yeah, you susah bernafas. Yeah. And then this gives rise to the process of coding, where a set of words describing some medical concept in translated into a code for later analysis. Okay, so this term uh, is actually got the uh, link to the this term is normally we code it, yeah, like this one, yeah? Okay, so like this one. Okay, and then we already answered the terms. And what is a code? So code is start with a term usually defined with a single alphanumeric code, such as 54213 represent the breathless, or dysphonia, or short of breath, 54213. So that means breathless is a 54, wheeze 54. Yep, the concept is breathless and wheeze. So and then 54214 is a wheeze. So short of breath, breathless, and dysphonia is under the breathless. Yeah. So we can categorize so this term under breathless. So the code is 54213. So the code, it means you can define any code. Yeah, you can give any code, but the code should be meaningful. 5 4 for example stand for what, 2 stand for what, 1 stand for what, the last two digits stand for what, 13 and 14. Yep. So in the middle it stand for what. So this is example, yeah, terms and code. So this is term, this is code. So we create a code for each of the term. Okay. So what is a classification class? Just now we already defined what is term, what is code, and what is classification. So classification is a hierarchies organized how the term and code can be easily searched through. Yeah. So it provides a structured grouping of idea organized around some set of attribute or access. So hierarchy may serve as a map to help to locate unknown term and uncover new relationship between concepts. For example, endocrinology is a branch of clinical medicine. Okay, so this is classification. Let's say, so under medicine, so it can be decomposed. Under medicine is clinical and laboratory. So under clinical, we have medical and surgical. So under medical, we have cardiology and endocrinology. Okay, so this is a classification. So endocrinology is classified under medical, and medical is classified under clinical, and clinical, laboratory, research, and informatics is classified under medicine. Okay, so when you are asking on what is classification, so the classification is a hierarchy. Hierarchy organizes how the term and code can be easily searched. So this structure is designed especially to easily for the coding, or get the code, design the code, and also the term to be used. Okay, using coding system. Okay, coding system is not only in the healthcare. So in a normal system also we use coding. For example, gender or sex. So we have two type of sex, male and female. Okay, male represent the code of 2.01, female represent the code of 2.02. So when computer search 2.01, so then they refer to the master reference. 2.01 is actually male, 2.02 is female. So this is coding system used in the application. So diagnosis, for example, insulin dependent, non-insulin dependent, adult onset. So they have a specific code here. Yeah. So So this is a code represent 65.122 represent the insulin dependent. 65.123 represent the non-insulin dependent. So when system search it refer to this code, and they refer to master reference, and they got the name of the code. Okay, so now I hope you understand what is a term, code, and classification, class. So term, code, and classification not only we use for clinical term only, yeah. So we use all type of code that can be used in the application. Like I show you just now is for example the sex code, diagnosis code, what else? Race code, nationality code. Yeah, there are a lot of code that we use in the application system. So to store the free text is very difficult to identify by the computer. Yeah? Sometimes you wrong type, yeah, MALEY, for example. So it different meaning. So when you use a code, very specific and very difficult to change it. Okay, now we go to the healthcare terminologies and classification system. So this is a specific in healthcare information system. Yeah. So in healthcare information system, we use ICD-10. They call it international. ICD-10 stand for International Classification Disease. So these terminologies used to record the ICD to record or classify the disease suffered by the patient. So the ICD-10 is used and controlled, published by the World Health Organization. So this ICD-10 code is very important for the WHO or Ministry of Health to control and to report the morbidity and mortality data of the citizen for certain country. Yep. So they want to know that every month what is the disease suffered by the Malaysian, for example, in Malaysia. So nowadays, I think the most disease reported is ICD is a COVID-19. Maybe is they call it a flu example, yeah, short of breath. So this is a symptom that make it or contribute the COVID-19. So it was based upon an effort by the William Farr. This code is very long time ago. So they developed long time ago, and this code is very mature and used worldwide. So when the doctor key in the disease of the patient during the patient doctor consultation, so they will type the term in the ICD-10. So the code of ICD-10 is very difficult to remember. Yeah? So normally we are computer people will convert, develop or design the search function for doctor to search, easy to search the disease suffered by the patient. So for example, the doctor will type fever, for example. Okay, fever, unclassified fever, there are a lot of fever, and then they will choose and store into the electronic medical record. Okay, this is an example of ICD-10 code lookup. When you type diabetes, you type the diabetes, or the doctor type the diabetes, so there are a lot of diabetes type will be shown, and doctor will choose which one is relevant to the patient problem. Yeah, so they will select, and then will go into the EMR record and store into the database. Okay, so this is ICD-10. So another healthcare terminologies that can that always used in the healthcare information system is ICD-10 PCS. So ICD-10 PCS purpose uh, is to what they call it is mainly for procedure classification system. So when you go to the hospital, when the doctor order for laboratory, or order for radiology, or order for operation theatre, operation, uh, so they involve a lot of procedure. For example, skull CT scan. Uh, the procedure is to scan your skull, X-ray, or for example, what they call it, lipid test. This is procedure. So this procedure is coding with the ICD-10 PCS, ICD-10 procedure coding system. So they got a lot of code classification and terms. Yeah. So this is an example of the ICD-10 PCS code. Chemical pathology. So this is they call it analyte, type of procedure. Sometimes under biological, under what they call it, hematology, and similar to the specialties of the or discipline of the department. Yeah. So another terminologies that used in the healthcare information system is read code. They call it read clinical term. So the read code were introduced in UK in 1986. So read code are a set of coded terms for use in clinical practice, initially in primary care. Yeah. So they have a symptom examination, investigation. So this is a read code structure. So in application, so we don't need to ask the doctor to choose a symptom or examination. So we put all this data into one database, and then we develop a search function. So doctor simply write the terms, and then the term will be displayed and stored into the EMR once the doctor select the relevant terms to be used. Okay, this is a read code chapter heading. Yeah? Occupation history is actually read code not only cater for the clinical term. So they also include a non-clinical terms, occupation, administrations. So you also, a student can create your own terminologies in Bahasa Malaysia, for example, or in Arabic, in Bahasa Indonesia, for example. Yeah, you can create it. But this is a very tedious work to develop terminology is very difficult. Okay, so another terminologies is a SNOMED clinical term. So SNOMED clinical term, or we call it SNOMED CT. Uh, SNOMED CT is abbreviation of systematized nomenclature of medicine. Is a design for use in software applications such as electronic patient record or decision support system. and to support the electronic communication of information between different clinical applications. So Snomic CT function same like CTV3, CV3, CTV3, create clinical term. So the Snomic CT is an advanced or enhanced term from the uh, CV3, CTV3. So it use it's combination of the read code version 3 and version 2. So this is developed by the College American Pathologists and also the collaboration of College American Pathologists and the United Kingdom National Health Service. Yeah. So Sonovet CT supersede the Sonovet RT and gradually replace the clinical term version 3. So the purpose of the Sonovet CT is to use as a clinical terminology. Yeah. So this is a concept of Sonomet CT. So they have a concept, description, and relationship. So to explain this one, will take one semester. Sonomet CT structure. So I just give the introduction only so that you know what is the healthcare terminology used commonly in the healthcare information system. So healthcare terminologies for Snowmed City browser. So you can go to this website. So you can try. So when you type, you search here gout and all type of gout is displayed. So this same like CTV3. When you type gout, then all the relevance term that you enter will be displayed, and they explain. So Sonomet City quite comprehensive. So they will explain the detail of the certain term, certain disease or complaint. Yeah, they will give a summary, detail, diagram, expression, ref set, reference set, members, references, classification map. So this Snowmed City uh, terminology is very comprehensive. Okay, another terminology that can be used in the healthcare information system to manage on the terms is the Unified Medical Language System. So this is one of the terminologies used to aid in the development of system and retrieve and integrate electronic biomedical information from a variety of sources and to permit the linkage of disparate information system, including patient record, bibliographic database, and decision support system. So this terminology is developed by the U.S. National Library of Medicine. I think this is I never use this one. I never explore this UMLS, but in US it's very popular. Beside the Snowmed City. Okay, so we finish discuss on the healthcare terminologies. So we have UMLS, we have Snowmed City, we have CTV3, and we have ICD-10. So these four terms is very commonly used in healthcare information system when the doctor clock in the disease or complaint of patient during doctor-patient consultation. So this term will be stored into the EMR and will be used for future reference and also for the statistical. Okay, another standard that important when we develop healthcare information system is electronic data interchange standard. So electronic data interchange standard like in banking, in banking system or e-commerce, in e-commerce for example. So when you buy goods using Lazada or Shopee. So at the end of the shopping, so you will ask to pay. Yeah, you will ask for paying the buying of the products. Okay, and then the system will ask you to choose whether using credit card or online banking, right? So when you when you choose the electronic banking system or you choose credit card, so the information from the Lazada, for example, will interact with the banking information system. So this is a type of electronic data interchange. Yeah? The the price will send to the banking system. So they have one what they call it common data interchange from the Lazada into the selected bank. So this is electronic interchange standard they use. Okay? So they use a standard data interchange. Another example is when you go to the ATM machines. So you will look at one uh, at any of ATM they have one label, they call it MAPS, right? MEPS. So let's say your account bank is a Maybank, and then you can withdraw your money through Bank Islam ATM. Uh, so the ATM machine enable you to withdraw your money from your account from different ATM, different bank ATMs. So that this is they have a standard. So MAP will convert the data with different bank into the standard data interchange. So in healthcare, there are many services. For example, from the registration, you go to the clinical consultation. So clinical consultation, we send the data to the laboratory, go to radiology, go to the OT, go to the pharmacy. The data will go to the order will go to the pharmacy, go to the billing department. So a lot of uh, interchange of data. So to resolve this, the variety of information or services within the hospital or inter-hospital, so the HL7 is come abroad. So HL7 uh, resolve this problem by by creating or define the standard format or content of the message passing from one services to another services. So this is an international standard for electronic data exchange or interchange in the healthcare. So like I said previously, in banking system they have their standard of data interchange, but for healthcare, so we have health level 7. So health level 7 manage, define and standardize the format and content of the message passing from one services to another services. So the main purpose of HL7 is to resolve the integration issue where HL7 defines standard for the electronic exchange of clinical messages between disparate SIS implemented. So HL7 messaging standard define message triggering event, message structure and encoding rule. Message triggering event example, initiate message exchange between system. For example, admit a patient. So when you admit a patient, there are more than one, they call it one message. When event is triggered, admit a patient, they will produce a message which include more than one segment. Yeah? And then message structure refer to the message type. For example, ADT, admit discharge transfer. So when we send a message, ADT message, so there are many segment in the message. And encoding rule refer to the syntax or grammar, how the message or segment is designed. Yeah. So when the message and also the data is sent to another system, so the system understand the grammar of the data. Okay, what is the uh, field used? What is the delimiter? Yeah, what is the end of the data? What are the delimiter used to make to indicate that the data is end of the record? Okay, and then what is the delimiter to be used to separate between one field to another field? So this is a grammar. Okay, okay, so HL7 message structure build up from segment, field, component. So like I said, so here, yeah, so HL7 message consists of segment, and one segment have many field, and one field have many component. Okay, so this is a message type ADT, for example. So message type is ADT, so the event is admit a patient. So the segment inside the ADT message is a message header, event type, patient identification, patient visit, next of kin information, and diagnosis information. So this information is unlimited, and you can put a small data or even more than uh, more than 100 character. Okay, so this message for ADT, when the data is submit, so this message, yeah, so this segment will be sent to the uh, respective system. Yeah. So this is uh, the data of HL7 encoded message look like. Yeah. So they start with a message EVN PID NK1PV1. So see, so this is delimiter. So you will see that this is a different data from the different data. So this is called field. So when the field is no data, so they just have a separator only. Okay. Okay. So this is a HL7 used for electronic data interchange between healthcare services, healthcare system. So another electronic data interchange standard is a DICOM, Digital Imaging and Communication in Medicine. So this DICOM uh, specifically cater for the image. So image transfer. So a standard for the electronic transfer of image, for example, CAT scan, MRI, CT scan, and etc. So the DICOM handle the or it standardize the image type between devices manufactured by different vendors. There are many type of scanner or image scanner. So different vendor, they have a different protocol. So that's why we need a standard to unify the record into one type of data or image, so that we can read and store accordingly. Yeah. So another standard for electronic data interchange is a National Council on Prescription Drug Program. I think this, we don't use this in Malaysia. I don't know whether in other country you use or not. So this is used at in the US. Yeah. So they have a standard data interchange on the drugs, yeah, drug or medication. So in Malaysia, I think we use they call it Bureau Pharmacy. Yeah? They have and they develop their own standard code for pharmacy. Yeah, maybe I think but the uh, international standard for pharmacy or drugs, so we still use, yeah, ATC they call it, yeah, anatomic therapeutical code. Normally in Malaysia also, or Bureau Pharmacy, they combine the ATC and Bureau Pharmacy code. Okay, another standard that now commonly used in the healthcare information system to manage the content, yeah, the content of medical record. We use HL7 EHR functional model. So this is one of the health record content standard. Content means when the doctor discharge the patient, normally a standard of discharge document must be produced. Yeah? So the content of discharge summary should be standard. So we cannot allow a different hospital or different doctor using their own clinical or discharge summary, their own format of discharge summary. So when we send to the database, so some of the discharge summary is complete and some is incomplete. So that's why we need a standard of health record contents. When we send or when we discharge the patient, so every doctor or every hospital or health center should produce a common standard discharge summary, which is the contents should be there. For example, patient information, yeah, their patient master index number must be there, diagnosis, complaints, medications, procedure, what else. So this record must be exist in the health record contents. Yeah. So in HL7, sorry. So in HL7 is EHR, so they have a functional model. Okay. So we are in fasting, so talk too much, we got tired. So HL7 EHR functional model provide, yeah, reference list of over 160 functions that may be represented in a EHR system. So they have a standard when a patient is admitted in the hospital, so they have a standard record. When the doctor order the lab test, so it should be a standard lab test record contents. Yeah. So this is a what we call it health record content standard. So the model enables standardized description of function by healthcare setting. Each setting, such as intensive care, office practice, emergency room, and so forth, is described in a specific functional profile. Example, when the patient is discharged, discharge summary is produced, and also the hospital charge is produced. So hospital charge have their profile to be submitted to the billing system, so that the information can be sure complete, yeah, and then the data can be mining easily and produce a correct report. So another health record content standard is a continuity of care record standard. So it designed as a standard healthcare data summary, and its purpose is to aggregate essential healthcare data from multiple sources such as patient record and other healthcare related documents in order to provide an overall clinical picture of a patient's current and past health status. So this CCR continuity of care record purpose is same like HL7 EHR functional model. Uh, Very easy. The purpose is to get the complete data and standard contents of medical record. Okay, health record content standard example. So functional HL7 EHR functional model online. So this is a example. So every services have or got their standard data, yeah. For example, care management, clinical decision support, operation management and communication. So each of the information here got their own entity, yeah, the field of the data. So information infrastructure, for example, this include also the security, yeah, uh, clinical support, such as laboratory radiology, yeah, all information is here. Okay, next is coding system is a very complex system, and to compare the coding system is not easy, yeah? Because coding the term is a subjective. When you talk about terminology used in healthcare is I think million of terms can be created, yeah? And term or coding system is a context dependence. That means what type of purpose, yeah, or they call it purposive. Context dependent means term used for pediatric department, yeah. Term used in cardiology, used in pathology, used in orthopedic. So it's a context dependent. So very difficult. We cannot generalize in medical one term for a different discipline. And then coding system is purposive. Purposive means based on purpose. What is the purpose? For example, in administrative, so the purpose of administrative, we have to code the patient, differentiate by race, for example, by religious or by gender, yeah. So by purpose. So in clinical, for example, the purpose is for what? Uh, for outpatient clinic, for example. So for inpatient, for operation, for ICU, for example, for CCU. Yeah. So it's very complex and very comprehensive. And term or coding system evolve over time. So when you use the system and you involve in the in the process of healthcare. So the term is evolved, increase, increase the term. So you need to manage, and then you need to create a department or unit to maintain the term and coding system. So coding system is also different, is faced with a different system may not correspond directly. So different system have different design. So you very difficult to ask other system to use your coding system. But that's why in Malaysia we have mampu control the standard of term or coding used for e-governments. Yeah. For example, when we want to use, when we want to differentiate between male and female, so they have their standard code, F or M, for example, or district code, yeah, state code, yeah, country code. So they have, it should have one body to control it. Okay, so this is a comparison of coding system. So when you look at this table, so we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 type of coding system. So which one that you want to use? So you should map with the purpose and the relevancy of the usage of the coding system, to your system. So normally when you want to choose which one is better of coding system, so you must follow the international standard, international standard, and what they, or international standard and status, what kind of coding system that commonly used, so that you can participate in the standard, so you are not one step behind from them. Okay, so that's why you need to check and update the progress of coding system internationally. And secondly, you need to check the purpose of use the coding system. Okay, so this is some of the reason why some of the vendor or IT company, they very difficult to accept the project of healthcare information system, because there are a lot of standard to be used. So the healthcare organization also are very choosy, to uh, to award the healthcare information system project to certain vendor, because uh, if the vendors are not familiar with the coding standard, or they don't follow the coding standard of healthcare information system, so the system will become a problem uh, in next future year. So this is very it require a very thorough planning, and also a thorough evaluation on the healthcare information system to be purchased by the healthcare organization. So in summary, healthcare information standard are crucial for interoperability, and clinical term code and classification play a vital role for enabling the healthcare data can be exchanged across systems. And HL7 and DICOM enable the interchange of healthcare data from one to another uh, healthcare information system. Okay, class, I think that's it for chapter 6. Any ambiguity or any curiosity, so you can write in the comment box, so I can reply to you as soon as possible. I think that's it. See you later. Thank you very much and assalamualaikum.